Welcome to the oasis.state podcast, a podcast where we peel back the layers of life's mysteries, decode the cosmic dance, and embrace the technicolor tapestry of our existence. I'm Zoe, your guide through the twists and turns of this wild journey we call life. If you've ever felt like you don't quite fit into society's mold, well, you've found the right place. Join me as we dive deep into the pool of existence, exploring the WTF moments that make life simultaneously confusing and exhilarating. From soul-expanding experiences to heart-wrenching healing journeys, we'll shine the light on all of it, and I'll share how we can alchemize these moments into pure magic and transformation. Consider this podcast your safe haven, your home away from home, where you can let your freak flag fly and embrace the full spectrum of who you are. So are you ready to join me on this soul-expanding adventure? Buckle up, my friends. Let's make some magic together. Hello, gorgeous soul, and welcome back to another episode of the oasis.state podcast. I'm your host, Zoe. Don't know why I said it like that, but I'm going to roll with it. Okay, so today's episode, we are going to talk about the different stages and evolutions of your consciousness or of your spiritual expansion. And I'm just going to give a disclaimer before I start this episode that I'm going to use words that resonate with me and I feel like authentically articulate my personal experience with my spiritual journey. But just remember that words are words and labels mean different things for different people. So if you're not following along, or you might have seen someone else talk about a similar thing but use different words, it's all good. They're just words. They don't rule us, we rule them. So I hope that the way that I can articulate this, it sort of lands for you guys, but this is just me channeling my personal experience. It's not like I went to a seminar or a masterclass and some spiritual guru was like, yo, these are the levels and this is what happens. This is just what I've observed over my personal journey. And I feel like it would add value to anyone else that is on a similar journey. It would add value to your life. So hopefully the words I choose resonate. I don't know. I just felt called to give that disclaimer because I feel like sometimes the imposter syndrome can come along when I, jump on here and I'm like, I'm going to talk about things. And then you're like, why? You don't have any qualifications. And it's just this whole journey because you can just scroll through social media or, do courses or work with mentors and stuff. And you can feel very unqualified sometimes. And then you're like, it's my own experience. When you remember that, you're like, I am just sharing my own experience and my interpretation of that experience. There is no way that you can't be accurate about it. So that's why I kind of maybe felt like sharing the disclaimer about words, because they might be like, oh, no, she's used the wrong term or whatever. So, but you know what? I feel like if someone's going to listen to my podcast like that, they're not going to listen to it for much longer. So anyway, let's get into it. So this podcast is filled with the information that I wish little Zoz had when she started her spiritual journey about like 14 or 15 years ago. I feel like I've always just been a very spiritually inclined person, and I just think back to my childhood and things that felt weird to me or things that I didn't understand, and I'm just like, oh, okay, things that just didn't really fit into my mold of understanding my morals, my values, even from a really young age. And now I've been able to acknowledge like, oh no, that's just like the level of consciousness that you had. And mind you guys, when I'm saying levels, throughout this podcast, it's not a competition. It's not like I'm level 27 and you're level 3. It's my different levels of consciousness and spiritual growth. Like I was here and now I'm there. And it's also like not like a complete smooth incline all the time. So I'll be up here and then I'll go down there. So when I'm saying levels, I'm not sitting here like, well, I'm at this level and you're at that level. I'm commenting on my personal evolutions, me showing up for me versus me, etc., etc. Okay, so I think I've always been a very spiritually inclined person, but as a child, I just didn't realize that. I wasn't brought up in like a spiritually like safe house, and that's no disrespect to my parents, but like, it just wasn't, I didn't grow up doing yoga or knowing what a chakra was or anything. And I started my like conscious, like deliberate spiritual journey, in my early 20s. And these things that I'm about to talk about now are all things that I wish she knew back then, because I think it would make the journey a lot easier. But also, it's kind of like you have to go through it to get the lessons. But I can share this for anyone that's on any point of their journey, just to get those reminders, because sometimes you're like, fuck, that's right. And we can so easily put the wool over our eyes and be really hard on ourselves in the journey. And sometimes we just need this reminder. So this podcast is to hopefully do that. So basically, when I started my spiritual journey, of course you lean into like, what was really big back then, it was called The Secret. And it's a book. Yeah. And I think it's a doco as well. They did a movie on it or something, but yeah, it's basically all these spiritual teachers and personal development gurus sitting there, harping on about the law of attraction. And just a little tangent. The law of attraction is actually only one of many universal laws, but it just blew up around this time. I can't remember exactly like the year or whatever, but it just completely blew up. So I've had my spiritual awakening and just realized like, whoa, there's definitely more to life. And I'm just deciding if I want to go like in more depth about that. But I'll just give it like a little bit of how my spiritual awakening was triggered, because if you're early on the journey or you haven't spiritually been woken up yet, or maybe you're further down the track, but I just think we need to normalize that spiritual awakenings can happen in the most random situations. I think it's kind of like the PR manager for spiritual awakenings has plastered it as like you have to sit in a plant medicine ceremony, or you're just walking around and you have this like big cathartic wake up and everything. And it's like, no, sometimes there's just particular circumstances in your life that just drive you crazy. It literally forces you awake and you're like, I am so sick of being a victim of my life and I want to be in control of it. And then slowly but surely, like the cracks will show in this current experience that you're having. And then you're just like, this is bullshit. Like, I don't know another way to say, like, this cannot be it. This cannot be exactly what we're meant to aim towards for our entire lives, sort of thing. So my spiritual awakening was triggered through just constantly dating unavailable chauvinistic men. And it just drove me fucking crazy. I was just like, you'd be hanging out with a guy and they'd be really receptive and you'd be having a great time. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, they would just go MIA, or they would treat you badly or something. And it's not that I am reflecting like, oh, if I was spiritually awake, I would be able to, get through that relationship or whatever. But what was frustrating me was that this guy, let me start that again. My experience with my day-to-day, with my life, with the present moment was completely in control, like controlled by that person that I was dating or giving my attention to. And if they were inclusive of me that day and gave me the respect that I deserved, I was having a really great day. Or if they were off on another tangent or starting to ghost me, then that would dictate my entire day. And I would just walk around like this emotional washing machine. Like, surely this is not how life should be. Like, how am I just meant to live every single day? And I'm like baby 20s, like maybe 20 or 21. That's what I'm trying to say. And I've, so you've been dating for what, like 4 or 5 years, or I don't even know, when you're in high school, it's not even considered dating. But like, I was very early on in the dating scene and just like, fuck this. I was just so like, I'm so sick of these unconscious men. And I wouldn't even call myself conscious at that point, but I was definitely more aware of how my actions would affect someone else. And I had the compassion to care about that. But I'm just dating shit guy after shit guy and being like, so is this my life? I can sometimes have a good day if he texts me, and if he doesn't text me, I'll have a bad day. Like, how like, how did I give away my power to this situation? So those kind of thoughts started coming into my head. I'm so sorry. Got a little tickle in my throat. Those thoughts came along more and more and more. And then it's just like, the ball starts rolling down the hill and gets bigger and bigger. And then you eventually have your entire awakening. And you have multiple throughout your life, by the way, guys. So if you've had one, you're feeling good, well, the next one's coming soon enough, I promise you. So that's the whole point of this episode as well, is just to really offer some guidance and some companionship through every phase of our conscious leveling up. So yeah, so that's what started my spiritual awakening, was just being like, I'm so sick of the way that people are treating me is dictating whether I'm having a good day or not. Like, what? But I'm a very sensitive person as well. So that's been a whole journey for me to like take that back. But for me, that was my starting point, moving from victimhood mentality and feeling really called to work with teachers, excuse me, and materials and things that help me feel empowered, because I was like, surely I'm just not going to go the rest of my dating life having no say in how I feel. You know what I mean? Like, or how my day goes about. So yeah, that's how it all started for me. And I just wanted to share that because, like I said, it's not always a fucking plant medicine journey. Sometimes you're just like sick of the way that people are treating you, or maybe you're just like in this job that you hate and you're like, what? Like, I studied for this job and this is my career and now this is it. Like, this is how spiritual awakenings happen, guys, because we're in a very unconscious society right now, and the conditioning is heavy. Like, it takes a long time to wake up and then continue shedding those layers afterwards. But they think they've, like, society thinks that they control us, but they've literally made it so easy for people to wake up now because life is just so uncomfortable. And in this present moment, like, the cost of living is quite expensive, and people are just going to work and they're still paycheck to paycheck, and everyone's like, how about no? So yeah, that's how spiritual awakenings can happen, is because we're in such an unconscious community and society. Like, there are conscious communities out there, sorry, but we're in such an unconscious society that it just creates this friction between like our conditioning and our lower vibrational states and our ego and our mind. And we're like, yeah, no, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm being a quotation marks good girl, or whatever your conditioning story is about, like being obedient or being successful or whatever. And then it starts rubbing up against your soul, and you're just like, and your soul's like, oh my God, I'm so bored. I'm struggling so hard. I'm like this freaking eagle in a cage. I need to be let free, sort of thing. So that's how it can happen. I just wanted to mention how my spiritual awakening started and my spiritual journey started. It's because I was just sick of shit guys not texting me back and making me feel shit. And I was like, dude, I'm actually really happy. My life's really amazing. But you know, that level of intimacy brings, as a sensitive person, brings, you know, like, I didn't have any shields up. I didn't know how to, you know, sort any of that shit out that I know how to now. So you start your spiritual awakening and you lean towards, I feel like it's very common for people to lean towards that personal development realm. Like I said, The Secret and law of attraction, and you can manifest your perfect life, and you actually can. But the thing that people don't advertise with their work or their, you know, courses or just the content in general is that there is a really, really hard yards involved in that. And we think that, oh, I'm spiritually awake and I understand that my thoughts, you know, manifest my feelings and my feelings manifest my behavior, and that if I do all the right behaviors, then I'll get that dream job or get that dream girl or whatever. And yes, that's true, but that's like 1% of it. So I feel like I kind of just wish I could go back and tell Zoz, like, you're going to get everything you want and you're really going to like get this harmonious relationship with life, but it's going to be really hard and really intense at times as well. But I want to shine a light on that, because I feel like everyone's always, there's the PR manager for like manifestation and the spiritual journey is all like, love and light, baby, it's amazing. It fucking is, but it is a lot of work. It's a lot of commitment. It's a lot of dedication. It's a lot of letting your guard down and practicing grace and self-compassion and looking at your shit as well. So to me, we do go through these phases in my personal experience, we do go through these phases of having these really high vibrational seasons of life, and we can instantly manifest things into our lives. We've really got like a cohesive relationship with our thoughts. Our emotions are mostly positive. We can practice gratitude. We can align our actions, you know, take inspired action and get out there into the world and make it happen. But that's a cycle, guys. So if you're watching the video, or just imagine I'm like, you're at the top here, and everything that goes up must come down, but in like the most amazing constructive way. So you're at this very like energizing, creative, collaborative energy with the universe, and you're manifesting all of these things. But then eventually what goes up must come down. And I know, sorry, that past versions of myself thought that I was doing something wrong when I was inevitably, meditating or manifesting or, doing whatever the work was to keep my vibration up. And then it was like I would have whiplash, and then I go into this like lower density state. But that's the cycle. That's the cycle. Sorry. Sorry, I'm making all these weird voices. I'm having so much fun right now. I mentioned on the previous episode that I'm using my spare room that's going to be filled next week for a little podcast studio, and I'm just really vibing it. And I did yoga this morning, and I went for a surf, and just life is good. So yeah, guys, that is the cycle. And I just wish it took me like so long to figure it out. But you can't always be, it's like us expecting to live in like a 24/7 summer or a 24/7 spring, like all year round. That sounds great on a piece of paper, but have you ever tried to live in summer all the time? It is exhausting. Like here in Australia, we have daylight savings. So the sun is up for 5 billion hours a day, which is really great, but then you like get tired. And if you're in summer all the time, like I know it's hot and it's encouraging to get out and enjoy your time, but we don't work like that, guys. Nature doesn't work like that. So why are you expecting yourself on your spiritual journey to be in your ever-present spring or your ever-present summer? It does not work like that. And if you think about it, you don't want it to work like that. That is so exhausting. That is so, it's so mind-numbing. I feel like you've got to really have the regenerative winters, and the inner winter is the healing phases of your consciousness journey. Sorry, my foot went to sleep. I'm on my bolster and I'm just put a lot of pressure on it. Cool stories, Oz. No one needs to know that. Anyway, so yeah, our inner winter is our healing phase, and I don't know. I just feel like for me, I thought I was doing something wrong whenever I went into these healing seasons. But it's actually a sign that all of the work that you did in those inner summers where you're out there manifesting, getting clear on your goals, taking aligned action, when you inevitably come into that inner winter and we move into that, it's not a lower energy. It's just like it's like a regenerative energy. It's a healing energy. And what we need to do is heal through that time. So yeah. And I've literally had experiences where I have been in a meditation and I feel amazing, and I'll come out of it afterwards and I'll just be riddled with anxiety, or I'll feel really depressed, or I've just like lost all hope, all despair. It's nothing massive. And I've learned to realize that means that it was a powerful meditation and that I shifted something, because we need those regenerative seasons and those healing seasons in our lives to shift the things that don't serve us anymore, to move the trauma that doesn't serve us anymore. And I just wish that all of those so like past versions of Zoz knew that that's what was happening, because all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, cool, manifesting this and putting it out there to the world. And then in the last few years, I have gone into the deepest healing season I've ever been in thus far, and I know there'll be more to come. But it's really triggering, guys, because we live in this society, and even in the spiritual realm and the personal development realm, it can be really toxic, because everyone's only putting up the highlight reel of what's going on with them. And they're like, look at me, I've manifested $50,000, I've got my dream job, you can dream it, dare it, do it. And for the last few years, I literally have not been able to do anything but focus on my inner work. And I have felt behind, I have felt broken, I have felt weird, I've felt confused. And I just didn't realize for so long that that's exactly what I needed. And there's not many people, I'm not going to say no one, but there's not many people out there being the PR managers for that season of it, because everyone's like, yeah, do this 3-step process and life will be amazing. No, it's like a 50 billion step process, but it's one you want to go on. By the way, I'm not jumping on here to be like, oh yeah, if you get into like your spiritual journey, it's going to be really hard and shit. It's just going to have those seasons of it. And I hope episodes like this can just help you realize, like, bring some lightness into the density of that, because the density is that inner work, and we're all souls that came here with a particular contract, a particular set of challenges, of boundaries, of hard roads, easy roads, whatever it is. And it is literally just our job for our entire life to unravel that and keep coming back into alignment. So that's like, we're all here for that journey. But so I'm not trying to say to you guys like it's really hard. You need to know the purpose of the hard work that you're doing and the healing that you're doing. And that is that it is only temporary, and you need that regenerative energy to release the parts of yourself that do not serve you, so that you can come back up to the top of the cycle, to that really energizing, creative energy where you are the version of yourself that you manifested last time you were at the top of that cycle. Does that make sense? So you might be like, I want to be a successful entrepreneur and work for myself. Oh, sorry, I hit my head, and work for myself and all of these things. And then the universe is like, oh, okay, cool. Well, you're not that version of yourself yet. So we're going to give you the invitation to move into the regenerative season of your conscious expansion and do the work, do the healing, have the rest, do that inner exploration and dredge out what no longer serves you. Once you've done that, you'll come back up to the top of the cycle, and then you are there, that successful entrepreneur or that confident woman or whatever you were focusing on in the cycle before. But you cannot get to that point without doing that inner work. And all it is an invitation to slow down, go within. Sometimes it might be a shitload of crying. Sometimes it might be a shitload of work to move through from your victimhood mentality to a place of empowerment. Maybe it's a lot of societal deconditioning to let go of these like subconscious shackles that you've popped on yourself because society has taught you to do that, you know? So everyone's healing journey is going to be completely different, but there are people like myself out there that can guide you through that journey, because it's really, really, really hard when you do it by yourself. And I have done it by myself, and I've had beautiful mentors and I've had beautiful communities around me, but I will never go through one of these healing journeys in these inner winter seasons again by myself. And there's definitely time for solitude, but then you need to have something that kind of pulls you back. You need to have that safe space to kind of unravel. Like, imagine like all of your healing is like this big bundle of yarn. It's all messy and knotted up. You need someone to bring it into a room. Say you did a session with me. You need to give me that yarn and we slowly start pulling it out, and you're pulling it out too. I'm not doing the work for you. I'm simply holding that space for you to be like, this is how I'm feeling. And I am very good at penetrating someone's aura and seeing their blind spots and guiding them through in a really compassionate and lighthearted way. But you can't do these healing journeys alone. So if you're in one right now, I really encourage you to have a look at my website, have a look at my offerings, reach out to me as well and have a little chat to see if it would suit, if it would land to work together, or anyone. Like, it doesn't have to be me. I'm just obviously going to give myself a bit of a plug because this is my podcast. But go and see whoever resonates with you as well. Maybe it's not a talking session. Maybe it's an energy healing session, which I do as well. But yeah, maybe it's just jumping on a bed and receiving some Reiki. But I'm just trying to remind you guys that there's so much value in the healing journey and the healing phase of your conscious expansion. And please don't walk around with this ignorance thinking that, oh my God, it's going to be so amazing and easy. And like, it's so amazing, the whole journey, guys, because you get through the healing journey and it's like this softness and this like openness and this authenticity where you meet yourself and you meet your inner child and you meet your higher self and you start getting into your feminine and channeling and opening up those channels and opening up that intuition. And you realize that the universe has been there that whole time, but sometimes it feels like you have to do it by yourself. So not only should you reach out to someone like myself to work with me and have me in your corner as a companion through these times. But once you keep moving through that journey, you realize that your guides and the universe and everything good in this world is actually by your side the whole time as well. But that's the healing journey, is that it is our job to pull the wool off our eyes and see and move through the illusions of fear and separation that we've created. And literally the healing phase of your like spiritual journey or your manifestation journey, whatever labels and words you want to put on it, is just coming back to that oneness and realizing we're actually always connected and we're always powerful. But excuse me. We all, like I said, we all come to this earth with these soul contracts, and it's our job to do the work to come back to that creative, collaborative energy with the universe at all times. And sorry, guys, I'm just gonna have a little sip of water. And if you think about it, without the spiritual growth journey, that expansive journey, life would be pretty mundane. If I do say so myself, like, there's nothing more gratifying than you showing up for you in whatever season it is. It might be your, hot girl manifestation season where everything's just coming into your lap and everything that you've been focusing on and those desires that you've been identifying for so long come to fruition. Or you might be in that healing journey where it's a bit more regenerative and a bit, you're a bit more insular and you're sort of doing the work. But like, there is nothing to me more gratifying than this journey. And that's why I do this podcast. And that's why I have my offerings with oasis.state, is because it's like, it's the highest value for me is this spiritual growth and this spiritual expansion, because what the fuck is life without it, And then as you're connecting, as you're doing that work and you're healing and you're upgrading and your like your inner world, as you start cleaning it up and moving all of that energetic gunk and the trauma and whatever your lesson is, like I said, it's different for everyone. But once you start doing that, life starts getting a bit easier, and you clean up that inner world, and then your outer world starts reflecting that. And usually you're actually so content by that point when you're kind of at the end of one of your healing regenerative phases and you're sort of coming back up to the top of the cycle. You won't even realize you're coming back up to the top of the cycle, because you have reached this place of grace and contentment and presence and gratitude. And it's just so amazing. And then all of a sudden, all of your manifestations start coming in and you're like, oh, that's right, I really wanted to do this, or that's right, I really wanted to do that. Or it'll happen and then you don't even realize it's happened and you're like, oh my God, that amazing thing happened. But you are operating from such an authentic, unconditional place of wholeness and connectedness, because you've moved through the fear and the separation, that you're like, oh shit, I didn't even realize it was actually tangible and visible to me in my outside world. So yeah, I think I'm going to stop there, guys. Ooh. But I just wanted to jump on here and just remind you that, like, every part of your journey is actually your spiritual journey. And even the nittier grittier stuff, like, you don't have to do it alone. I'm here for you guys. This podcast is here for you. My offerings are here for you. Reach out to your community or manifest a new community if you want more spiritually minded people. Reach out to nature. Mother Gaia has got you. Like, honestly, there is nothing more healing and therapeutic than spending time in nature. It's just so, the negative ions and the light codes, that, like, the negative ions from nature and water and the ocean and everything. Like, nature emits negative ions, but then the solar light codes that come through from the sunshine and the groundedness that you feel from getting your bare feet on the ground, like, it will help you. She will guide you. If you are in the thick of your healing journey, spend a bazillion amount of time in nature. And she will hold you through it. Maybe actually you might channel some answers, but usually it'll just be about regulating and integrating all of that work that you're doing, whether it's like in sessions with people or journaling or just crying or getting angry or expressing it in whatever way it is. So yeah, guys, every single season of your spiritual journey that you're on is equally as valuable, equally as important, and can actually be equally as enjoyable and light if you choose to make it that as well. So yeah, all right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I will see you on the next episode. Sending all my love. Hey, beautiful soul. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Oasis.State podcast. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend. It means the world to me knowing that everyone who needs this medicine and magic can lovingly receive it. Also, I'd love to hear from you, so feel free to reach out via social media, my website, or email. Can't wait to connect, and until then, sending you heaps of love.